Yo, what is going on, Arkansas Razorback fans, SEC fans everywhere? What's going on? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had a week. Hope you had a good week. I just, it just seems like it was kind of one thing after another. Well, I mean, I guess all of 2020 has been that way, right? It's just been a giant ouch for 2020. Razorback football, on the other hand, making some moves. I guess we can argue that the Razorbacks land a former 4-star at a high school. We're gonna talk about that in just a second. We're gonna get caught up on the NCAA and everything. But again, I hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to the PTN Friday Flamingo, and it is a flamingo shirt, by the way. I wore the same one last Friday, but there are flamingos there. You see them. So I am sporting the shirt and everything else. Yeah, again, thank you. Remember to like. Of course, feel free to comment if you have any questions. Fire away in the chat. I can answer some information. I finally was able to get someone to send me some information on this kid that transferred, on this young man. So I do have a little bit of news on him too. And again, the NCAA stuff. Yeah. Tap the subscribe button if you haven't already. And check out all the links to all the Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for doing what you do. And anybody who has thrown a dime into the PayPal, though, if you don't want to join the Patreon, I know some people are like, I don't know if I want to pay. I think it's $4 a month. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just throw a one-time little quarter in the old tip bucket there, their tip cup. Who has a tip bucket? Shout out to you guys as well, those of you who have done that. Okay. And I do have video footage too, and I think we're gonna watch that. Let me get caught up on chat really quick. John Hawes, yo, what's up, Austin from Camp Pendleton, TTV, yo, boy Judd, what's up? Greg Simmons, Steven Rogers, he's already commenting on the OU transfer. Transferring because he can't see the field at OU. Don't need to make a living off OU scraps. Well, Steven, I guess you're well versed on him and Levi Draper. I guess I'm assuming that's who you're referring to. Feel free to enlighten us in chat. You seem to know more about these players than anybody else. This all just happened. I've been trying to watch film, trying to do digging while I'm watching film. I'm texting. I'm hitting up DMs. Calling it now. Baseball gets natty next year. Woo Pig Suey, says Austin. Yeah, I don't know why you're going on about Oklahoma. Best 2 years for baseball recruiting ever, Woo Pig Suey, if you had transfers. Austin Foster, what's going on? Baseball is way too unpredictable to be making those kind of predictions. Yeah, I'm very hesitant. I remember when we had Phil Elson on the Hog Talk podcast. Of course, a lot of you guys know him. He's the voice of Razorback baseball. We agreed. It's very you don't want to make predictions that early, and nobody does. You could throw a dart at the old dartboard when it comes to college baseball as to who's going to make it to Omaha. Even that's difficult to do. I would argue people say that, well, this has been the best recruiting the last couple of years. Dave Van Horn's been recruiting near that level for a while. Sometimes these kids don't sign here; they go and play. They go and sign a big time contract in the major leagues and go into the farm system and what have you. Seen that happen time and time again. Saw that happen this year. But he has had some phenomenal classes. This isn't anything new. Arkansas baseball recruiting, I would argue, is, I don't want to compare. I don't know how you compare it to basketball or football, but Dave Van Horn could go anywhere in the country. And for those high school baseball players, they know exactly, and my phone's just going off. Listen to this. They know exactly who he is, who he represents. They know about Baum Stadium. They know about the fans. Arkansas baseball it's big time, and he's been able to do that. You can argue the uptick has definitely happened the last 6 or 7 years, but even before that, he was recruiting at a really high level. Anybody else been playing NCAA 14 lately? I despise that game. I'm not going to go down that road right now. What's up, Ty? What's going on, Jacob Botwinick and Big Man Ross? I was listening to a podcast, but seeing you went live, and I was like, nope, watching Ty. You're the man, Big Man Ross. His college football experience. What's up, Celtics for life? will help a ton. John Hawes says, I absolutely love that we're making our way into Oklahoma. That's the case, isn't it, John? That is the case. We're walking in, we're grabbing players out of Oklahoma, out of high school, and then we got Levi Draper to transfer, and now we've got another. Both of these players, former 4-star players out of high school. Ty, I have been, says Sean. Have been what, Sean? I hope you've been well. Is this Sean Two Verts? Hoping you and your family staying safe these days. Thanks, B. Hey, man, I appreciate that. I really do, man. Much respect to you. We're taking all this stuff serious. I'll tell you that much. My oldest daughter had her doctor's appointment for her yearly. You know, it's you're supposed to do them every year for, I guess, forever. That's news to me. According to my wife, you're supposed to do this every year. You're supposed to go to the doctor every year. Who would have thought? But obviously, kids are. And so we took all the precautions. We wore the mask, and they made sure that we were, when we were walking into the vestibule, they were like, have you had any symptoms? They took our temperature. They did all this stuff, and we cleared. It's crazy because I'm not out in the real world very often, and it's crazy to actually see it up close and in person. I know a lot of you are like, well, I'm still working every day. Like, this is my reality. I've not really been out in it a whole lot lately. And yeah, it is. Sean Forverts. Yeah, see, I remember my peoples. What's going on, man? How you doing? Wouldn't surprise me if Pittman takes this team back to the glory days. Ooh, got to be careful with that sort of talk. Don't put someone up on a pedestal when we haven't actually seen them coach yet or haven't seen the product yet. Did you see Pinto's meme? I did see Pinto's meme. It was quite hilarious. NCAA 14 was just one last money grab. 13 is way better. They're all better. They're all better. 14 is garbage. I know we love NCAA 14 because of it's the last game that the EA put out. It's the last of the franchise. And I understand that. The rosters, you can go to the shared locker, what's it called? They used to call it the locker room or something, but you can go to you can download someone's up-to-date roster. I do it. I still play NCAA 14, but I despise it. It's the only place that I know of that you can get where people are actively updating the rosters. So, yeah, but I agree. Anything's better than 14. Doing good, been busy. That's good to hear, Sean. It's good to hear, man. Okay. Before we get to this transfer, the NCAA has extended the dead period. Now, they just keep pushing this thing back, and we've talked about this a lot. It was extended, I want to say, up until the end of July. A few weeks back, they're extending it again, and the reason why we're talking about that is because it's imperative that we understand that this could be a sign. If they're not willing, I think about this. If you're Mark Emmert, if you're with the NCAA, or if you're one of these conference commissioners, whatever, you're a person in position of power. What the NCAA is saying is we don't want our coaches at Division I level, we don't want our coaches and these high school recruits to be exposed to possibly, COVID-19. We don't want their families to be affected. It makes sense. They've extended this thing through August 31st. Guys, the season has started at that point. Hell, there's college football games the last week of August. I think there always are. I can remember back in the day, South Carolina used to open the season up on a Thursday night game. But here we are. We're extending this thing now through September. That's a little problematic. I think that's a sign that is not good. And I think for a lot of you, it's like, well, yeah, that goes without saying. Some people aren't really paying attention to this. And what the dead period is, sorry, I need to put my phone on silent. It's going crazy. What the dead period is, a dead period precludes all in-person recruiting. Phone calls and correspondence can continue to occur. Basically, no physical, like you cannot have a kid on campus and you can't go to his community, to his home. This is honestly, it's a setback for Sam Pittman. If you're Sam Pittman, if you're Coach Stepp, if you're anyone on this staff, and you're looking at a dead period now that's been extended through until September, that puts you that much further behind. And I'm going to tell you something. What I hope they do this year, and in my honest opinion, I hope it's permanent. that you don't have an early signing period. They're going to have to not have an early signing period, or they're going to have to push it to like mid-January. Push it back 2-3 weeks. Assuming we're even doing the in-homes and the official visits, the OVs, assuming any of that's even happening to begin with, and COVID is, I mean, it won't be completely gone, but it's at least like we're seeing the numbers dramatically die down, and the NCAA says, okay, you got to understand, they don't want to be held responsible. And I understand that. But this is a pretty big blow. I think, honestly, this is a huge blow if you're Sam Pittman. And it's really unfortunate. I don't know. Maybe, and again, you know, the NCAA, they are talking to the press. The COVID, here's how COVID has affected college athletics. There's nearly 200 players. Now, remember, this is all college athletics, not just the big three, or even baseball for that matter, or excuse me, track and the other stuff. Nearly 200 players across the country have contracted the virus, according to the numbers gathered, and this was from 247. But most FBS schools have opted to not release the data publicly. Much like the general population, schools are still trying to understand the virus and how to best protect themselves from infection and spread. This is, it's just, I don't know. This is all troubling. This isn't the news you want to hear if we're talking about having football start in 2020. When you extend the dead period, then you're going to look like hypocrites if you open up 100% capacity in these stadiums like some people have rumored. I get it. Twitter rumors, they need to stay there, I agree, but there has been that kind of talk, not from anyone official, but it is out there, and I do get people asking me about it from time to time. So, yeah, that's the debt. So 200. Now, I don't know how many total kids that are on scholarship through Division I. I have no idea. I don't even know what that number looks like. Just think about what that number really is and what these schools are actually putting out and what's public information. I honestly didn't even know that they could hide that information. I had no idea. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys were concerned about the dead period. Well, it's still here and it's going to be extended. Sam Pittman, I've said this time and time again here, and I've said it on the Hog Talk podcast. Sammy P. My boy Sammy P is at his best when he's in the living rooms of these players and their families. That's when he's at his best. Now, you look what he's doing right now. You're talking about nationally a top 35, depending on what website, top 30, top 35 recruiting class. Yeah, he's you know, they're bunching the numbers up. They're taking some commits. Some, I would even argue, a little sooner than I thought they would have. You know, it is a thing where kids get offered and then they want to commit, and then sometimes coaches are like, whoa, wait a minute, we'll accept your commit maybe down the road. I mean, they accepted 2 so far, commits right out the gate. I don't know what that means. Maybe they just really like those players, but you know, I guess they have to take their commits so early. But and it's not exactly unheard of, to be fair. But yeah, Sam Pittman and this staff, especially Sammy P, needs to be in the living rooms of these players. I've said that time and time again. So maybe it ends. You know, maybe September 1st. They're like, you know what, we're good. We're gonna now. By then, though, you're in football mode. You're in regular season mode. So, okay. Also, and this shouldn't be a super long. I always say that. We end up going 55 minutes. Let me get caught up on chat really quick. My biggest concern with Pittman is that he surrounded himself with good talent, and the thing with good talent is that it eventually leaves. Well, I agree, but it seems to me like people want to coach for him, and that's a good sign. People want to coach for him, so maybe he can replace him with you know, the same level of talent in terms of his staff. They're just going to keep delaying it every month. Probably. I mean, that probably is the case, but for them to do it when we're not even in July and they're talking about extending it through September, I mean, they just, and yeah, they keep pushing it back, but I would have expected them to get through at least halfway through July before they talk about extending it into the regular season like that. What are you drinking tonight, Ty? Well, I am drinking a Sprite. Nothing exciting. Just a Sprite, actually. Gonna need to gosh. That's also a good sound. It's not the crack of a beer can, but it's still... I'm not going to get into politics. Let's see. When do you think the season might start? The NCAA, and they've said this, and I'm going to read an article here from Mark Emmert here in just a second, president of the NCAA, what he had to say. He spoke to, I think, the Atlantic, just, what was this, yesterday or day before, about what's going to happen. So I'll get to that in just a second. Let's see. Crawford is from Rockdale, Texas. That's a short drive from Cameron, Texas, where OU got D.D. Westbrook. That area in Central Texas puts out a lot of recruits. Love the long chats. When does I'm sorry, big man Ross. When does the basketball schedule get released? That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, remember, guys, share the content, please. Copy and paste the little arrow there. Throw it up on social media. Be sure you tag me. I'd really appreciate it. And, of course, slap a like. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Okay. Speaking of the NCAA, and then there's one more thing that's actually pretty cool, and then we'll get to this transfer. Here's what Mark Emmert was on. Was this to the Atlantic he was talking to? Let's see. NCAA President Mark Emmert is concerned about fall sports. So what he did say is, I'm trying to figure out who he talked to as we continue. Mark Emmert in a recent podcast on the Comeback. Okay, on the Comeback podcast, which is Noontime Sports. He said what we, and this is the NCAA president, Mark Emmert, regarding what various seasons will look like this fall during the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. I hate that we got to talk about this every week, but I know several of you are going to hit me up about it. This is what he said. What we do know for sure is whatever occurs, it's going to be different. Who previously stated during the NCAA social series last month on Twitter that college athletics could not occur if students were not on campus. As for what upcoming football season looks like, including here in New England, Emmert told Davis that it won't be what we're accustomed to seeing year in and year out. So I think I had read somewhere where the NFL was talking about not allowing anyone to sit on the first few rows and what they're going to, which is strange anyways, because of course you're not going to fill up the stadiums. There's still a lot of people that are scared to death of COVID. Again, I'm not here to talk about whether that's fake news or not. I'm not here to talk politics, but that is a realistic fear that people have. And so what they're going to do is they're going to close those off and allow for ads to be placed in those empty seats. So I can only imagine giant banners, like you see the college students pass up and down the when they have the huge banner. I could see them doing something like that, where they take over each row with these long advertisements, right? These long corporate sponsorship banners, and they may take it from anybody who's willing to fork in a buck or two to sponsor the season. I've heard the NFL, and I don't know how legitimate that is. I thought actually it's kind of genius. You already have that. You already see the banners on the sidelines. You already see them where the media sits and what have you. That sounds like a good idea if you're still able, to reserve all those seats just for advertising, and then, whatever else you want to do in terms of capacity. That's a terrible idea. It's gonna be so weird to watch games if they especially if they decide to say, you know what, we're only going to fill up to like 20% capacity, and then everything else is going to be just advertisements. Oh my God. And you're going to have an ad wall while watching football. But you know what? That's you get the game on TV one way or another. I still think it happens. So no matter what, Emmert knows the upcoming college sports season will look so much different than it has previously, and may only feature conference or in-state contests along with a slew of regional games. I mean, look, again, this is Noontime Sports. I'll copy and paste this link somewhere for you. This is what he said. I certainly think that sitting here today that there will be football in the fall. I think it will be different in many respects, whether it's audiences in attendance or not in attendance, whether it's the nature of the schedule, whether it's the length of the season. All of those things will be different, and certainly the protocol and the way the games are played and the healthcare that's surrounding that has to be different. So the healthcare that is surrounding has got to be different. I mean, that's from the man himself. Now, in terms of who has the most power, the conferences or the NCAA, that's another argument. Who actually has final say? Now, my guess is if a school decides to not go along with this, whatever the NCAA presents, they might get fined by the NCAA. I could see that happening, and the school has to consider whether or not, does the reward outweigh the risk. And I could see them making an example out of somebody. So that's from Mark Emmert himself. So, Ty Patrick Champion, what's going on, my man? I'm still so angry at Will Wade and the NCAA. Did you see what I did on Twitter today? Did you see what I did? You should go look if you haven't seen it. LSU sucks. If nobody is trying to poach your assistants away, you're not doing something right. Oh, that's a very good point, Austin. That's a good point. Hog's got to find a way to stop John Rice plumbing at Ole Miss, but other than that, it's a toss-up. Arkansas, let's move on to basketball really quick. They made the short list for a 5-star point guard. This is pretty cool. J.D. Davidson out of, I cannot pronounce that, Leadohatchee, Alabama. Calhoun High School, 5-star, .99 rated overall, 5-star, top 15 player in the country. They've made his top 10 list. And the only reason why I bring that up, it's not very often they make the top 10 on a 5-star player that's not connected in some way to the University of Arkansas. As far as I know, he has no connections here. 6'3", 175 pounds. Again, he'll be towards the 2021 class. So that was cool. You know what? And really, this is what was funny. When I was preparing for this live show, I was like, that's the highlight of the day. This is going to be like a 20-minute show. My wife gets home from work, and I had to go pick her up. One of our vehicles is in the garage. Just a little information for you that you absolutely had to have. And so I went and picked her up and brought her back, and I'm sitting down, and literally the news breaks that they get this big-time transfer. So let's move on to the very last subject, or the very last topic. How about that? Jacqueline Crawford. So I did a little bit of digging. He's coming to Arkansas. Former 4-star, and I already saw where someone was mentioning, getting Oklahoma leftovers. Again, maybe you're more educated on the subject than I am, or anybody in chat is, or anybody else that's coming back and watching this. So please feel free to give us the information as to why you think he's just leftover OU scrap. I'm going to tell you this much. If he's being actively recruited and has committable offers from big-time, blue-chip, Power 5 programs, I'm willing to bet that maybe there's something there, and Arkansas could absolutely find a spot for him. You're not going to tell this kid no. So what I understand, and this is the information that was given to me. I had to, and I'm still getting people talking to me about him, and so you're not going to get all the information. He was supposedly going to transfer from Oklahoma, and I don't think Arkansas was really on his list. I have one person telling me he was going to go JUCO. I have another person saying that he was going to go to a lower division school just to get his name out there for a couple of years, or for a year or two, and then try to come back. But apparently, as soon as the information went out a couple of weeks back, Coach Stepp, wide receiver coach for Arkansas, got in contact with Jacqueline Crawford and said, hey, why don't you come over to Arkansas? Crawford, who is 5'9", 5'9.5", about 160 pounds currently. Out of high school, he was a top 200 prospect, ranked at 183rd in the country as a number 9 athlete. Now, he does play. In high school, he played both ways. Oklahoma offered him at the wide receiver spot. He played the receiver spot. And I think he was a part of the 2018 class. He was redshirted. He will have to sit out this year, but he's going to have 2 years of eligibility to play. Stepp reached out and brought him here. I'm going to tell you guys, I've been watching film. First off, when 5'9.5", he's not afraid to reach up and grab the ball out of the air. I love the way he positions his body to make the catch, even if it's a bad throw. And I'm watching his quarterback. Well, his quarterback looks like he's got a cannon or a pretty good arm. Mechanics look raw. And there's a couple of times where he throws the ball, and I'm like, oh, that's. I mean, it's going to be caught. I know this. It's a highlight film, but I don't know how anybody else. I don't know how he's going to adjust to make this play. And sure enough, he jumps in midair and adjusts to the ball while it's in air. Also, his film from, of course, he played both ways. He was an athlete at a high school, 4-star athlete. He does the same on defense. He's just he gets to the ball and he can adjust to the ball, in a matter of milliseconds. He's also swifty. It's always hard to determine. It's really hard to determine their speed on film. I don't know that anybody can watch film and go, that kid runs a 4.39 40. And the only information out there is that he was an MVP as a junior in was the district 10-3A overall MVP as a junior in 2016. And was a second-team all-district selection at the cornerback position. I did have someone tell me that he was maybe as good or a little bit better of a corner than he is a wideout. Still a little raw in running routes. Again, I don't know how solidified. This is all fresh. This is all new. I don't know how much this information is legit. Maybe he's come a long way. I don't know. But this guy was actively recruited by Cale Gundy and Lincoln Riley. And he enrolled with Oklahoma, but he's going to transfer again. He's going to have to sit one. He's going to have 2 years to play. I was going to play the pull up. Ty, a long time. Hey, Ben. How's it going, Michael Cox? Hope you're doing well, sir. Let's pull this up. Let's get this going. Boom. Now you are going to get a. I don't know why it's taking so long. You're going to get a commercial here. So 15 minutes or less. Crikey. Wait, that's not English. Sorry. I recorded that like I was really hurting for time here. Okay, here we go. This is from Scout. This is 2018 receiver, Jacqueline Crawford, Rockdale High School. We won't watch this whole thing. It's like a 5.5 minute long clip, I think. Watch this. Look at this throw. Bloop. Look at that catch. Are you kidding me? He does it again. Here's an interception for a touchdown. I think this might be the one that's kind of lengthy. Look at that. Gets to the ball. Sponsored by Geico. That's right. Goes the distance to the house. And he puts, better be careful with that Joe Adams move. Did you see that? Look at him here. Here's a punt return for a touchdown. Whoop! Whoop! Up the field he goes. It doesn't even look like he's trying. Look at this. Does it again. There it is. Interception for a touchdown. Here he is at receiver. All right. He's going to get upfield here. Look at this. I mean, he's gone. Look at this. Look at the safety right here. Kid has an angle on him, and he's still a mile behind. Nice. That's just laying it all out there, man. Not worried about harm at all. There he is, splitting double coverage, safety over the top, right through the middle, baby. Touchdown. Nice little pump fake there by the quarterback. Watch this. Boom. How many defenders are there? I mean, that's bad on them, honestly. None of those guys even tried to adjust and make a play on the ball. That was actually a nice throw, but look at that catch. Are you kidding me? The 10-5 touchdown, Crawford. Here he is again. Shotgun, throw, little tunnel screen there. Up the middle he goes. He's gone. Pay attention to what Mr. T-Dub said right there. Pay attention to what he just said. Read chat. This is a nice little play. Look at he's on the outside and he's gone. The 50, the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30, 20, 10, touchdown. What are they, the Lions? Is that home field for them? Here he is. Was that an interception? I took my eyes off the camera. Guys, look at him. I don't know about the next Tyreek Hill. I'm not going that far. Here's a kick return. Again, special teams. He just kind of does it all. Nice block. Nice block. Time voice of the Razorbacks. I doubt that. Maybe. That'd be great. Touchdown. I mean, dude, this kid, he just, look at this. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Gone. He's gone. Right there. I thought he stepped out. I'd really like to look at that again. I kind of thought he got maybe his foot touched. I don't know. Maybe not. Was he out of the running back? Now, see, I've only watched up until right before this. I didn't finish the whole thing. Did he get that out of the running back position? Did they line him up at the running back? Maybe, and I mentioned this in our Discord. By the way, Discord link is provided for you down below in the description box. If you guys want to join the Discord, get in on the conversation. I broke the news there first before we put it on social media, I think. I think I did. I think I put it there first. But if you want to join, that link is provided for you. There it is. Boom. No more. Oh, see. Okay. We did end up watching the whole thing. No, it wasn't 5.5 minutes. It was like almost 4 minutes. Definitely has some Joe Adams in him. Slippery, man. I was impressed. And I can't wait to get more information on him over the weekend, hopefully. Yeah. So, thoughts? Yo, Tyler Edmonson, what's going on? No, got to sit out 2020. Yeah, so he's going to have to sit out. I mentioned that earlier. He's going to have 2 to play. If nobody is trying to poach your assistants. Oh, I already read that. My bad. Let's see. Yeah, so Mr. Tita brought up a really good point. Whomever is saying we don't need OU scraps, you lose football IQ points with that remark. OU recruits at a much higher level than us. Get used to it. The transfer portal is here to stay and works. I don't know. Again, I'm not calling it. Who knows? He could get here and not really do anything. I don't know. Maybe there's some more stuff going on off the field that we're unaware of. I don't know. Again, that's why I'm trying to reach out and get as much information on him as I can. But I do he seems like he's got a really high ceiling. A lot of talent, a lot of speed. I love the way he adjusted the ball. He's willing to lay it all out. He's not concerned about bodily harm. He'll lay it all out and make the play. He'll go grab the ball. That's impressive. So, okay. Let's see. Tyler Edmondson says, thought I was going to have to miss the stream, but I'm not doing anything, so I decided to tune in. Oh, cool. Decided I guess I'm going to watch the stream. I guess. God. I'm kidding. I'm playing around. Okay, well, I think that's going to do it, unless you guys have some more questions for me. Musselman has taught Pittman how to use the transfer portal at a high rate. Hey, Musselman keeps his phone. He's got the transfer portal on alerts, man. As soon as someone hits the transfer portal, Musselman gets a notification ASAP. I hope that's rubbed off on Pittman. There's nothing wrong with going that route. Jacob Botwinick says, if Felipe Franks gets 2 years, do you think KJ or Malik might transfer? Yes. Yes, I do. I think one of them very well could. I don't know. I would think more that KJ would than Malik, because Malik would only it'd be his second year. Really got to love the offensive talent. I should have got my glasses. That's stacking up for Arkansas. Would like to see more studs on defense. Yeah, I agree. Spawn Quest Gaming. I agree. That to me is the biggest concern. I put out a video on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Monday? I put out a video this week covering Nevada a little bit, and we'll sum it up with this. That game is going to be interesting because, like I said in that live stream, in the video, they have pieces to be pretty damn good. If they get it put together this year, you've got a quarterback that's got another year of experience. Now, again, we've had this crazy offseason. I don't know how much progress was actually made. That's why it's going to be incredibly hard to make any predictions. And it's why I'm kind of taking my time doing what research I'm able to do, and which, it's the same stuff you guys read that's available to you. That's what I'm reading. And I'm also trying to reach out to people, other media people that cover their respective teams across the SEC, trying to get their take on what they think about their team and their thoughts on Arkansas. So I'm trying to reach out to some of those people. But Nevada's an interesting team. They have individuals. They got a wideout. This kid's 6'4", 6'4.5". He's like their Marcus Monk, maybe a little slower than Monk. Not that Monk was a speed demon, but he's definitely a pretty prime possession wideout. He's coming back for his senior year. 70. I had it in my notes here. Elijah Cooks, 76 catches, 926 yards, 8 touchdowns. He averaged almost 12 and a half yards per catch. They have a running back who's coming back for his junior season, Tua. This kid, 196 carries, 800 yards, just around close to about 4.5 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns. He had 30 catches out of the backfield. But then they have this change of pace back, Devontae Lee, 5'8", 230 pounds. But he averages right at about just south of 5 yards a carry. So they've got a lightning thunder thing going on at running back. Carson Strong, their quarterback, will be a sophomore. He was a freshman last year. He got the start. He was benched, and then he came back. He ended up throwing for 2,300-plus yards, 63 pass completion ratio, which isn't bad, but his touchdown-interception ratio wasn't that great. 11 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. But he threw for 295 yards, so almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, in a comeback win against Purdue, a Power 5 opponent, 34-31. He also threw for just north of 400 yards in a loss to Ohio in their bowl game. I think it was the Potato Bowl. So Nevada's that's a good test. They're returning about 15 possible returning starters, 9 on offense, 5 on defense. 4 of their starting 5 offensive linemen are back, but that's actually kind of been an area where they've struggled. And they get 4 skill position players back, 2 running backs, 2 receivers. So, yeah. Let's see. Just join the new social media platform Parler. Really like it. Join No PC, please. Y'all, Razorback football will be markedly better this year. Coach Chad Morris and his staff was an absolute joke. I'm not ready to say even that yet. I have confidence in this staff more so, but I had confidence in John Chavis as a defensive coordinator. I can remember saying year 2 they'd be way better. They were somehow worse. I do believe Chad Morris was a joke. I'm not going to – I think they should be better. I'm not prepared to say they're going to be a lot better yet. Like I said before, I'm not there yet with Arkansas getting a conference win, but we'll see. As I'm starting on Notre Dame, actually, is what I'm looking at right now, breaking down Notre Dame. Obviously, you know where I'm going with that. But, yeah, great day to be a Hog fan. Woo picks. That was a big pickup. That transfer was big time. That's good for Arkansas. Unfortunately, he's going to have to sit a year, assuming he doesn't. If he probably will contest having to sit out a year to the NCAA, but the odds are he's transferring in so late. I doubt that he gets a waiver and is able to play. But again, Crawford transfers to Arkansas. That's a big one. So that's it. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. I hope you have a great night. Be safe out there. Yeah, but Chavis was trending down before he got here. Odin and Bryles are trending up. Well, that's Odom was trending down as a head coach. I get that he's a defensive coordinator, and he's a great defensive mind. But Chavis he's the guy with all the experience, right? When he came here, we weren't talking about how he was trending down when he came here. We were talking about how he was this big name. I always thought Chavis was going to attract talent, and that's why let's be real. If we honestly thought Chad Morris was going to be here for 3 or 4 or 5 years, which obviously, thank God he didn't, that was the attraction, that they could recruit, and that's kind of the point of Chavis. And then maybe his staff around him could handle the actual work, especially after that first year. There was so many problems after that first year, and I just knew something was up. Something was up with Chavis, and I couldn't figure it out. And that's a fair point to make. Odom, you could probably argue, was in his prime as a defensive coordinator before he took the head coaching job at Mizzou. We'll just have to see. I love you. Oh, thank you. What do you think the story... What do you think of the story? Hogs have the second most experienced line in the SEC. I'm not even there yet. Do they have the second most experience? If that is the case, it doesn't mean much when the guys at Florida, Auburn, Alabama, LSU are still that comes down to the question of, does talent trump experience? Is it a mixture of the two? that's great. That's great that if that is true. I think they have three of their starting 5 back. So Ricky Stromberg's a big deal. That's nice. That's nice to have back. What matters the most? You can have 5 of the most experienced offensive linemen in college football. Doesn't really mean much on the big field. Y'all let the man go eat. Yeah, I got to eat. I'm starving. So, again, you guys have a good night. Remember to tap the subscribe button if you haven't already. Check out the links provide for you guys down below. I do appreciate each and every one of you Patreon supporters. Big time shout out to all of you guys and everyone in chat. I know who you are. I remember your names. Sean Verts earlier was like, I bet I blew his mind that I remembered who he was. I think there's a big chance that Musselman gets JD. We also have the second worst line. All right, you guys, whooping suey, and I will probably see you on Monday. By the way, Hog Talk Podcast episode 100 was supposed to be today. We took Sunday off because of Father's Day. I don't know why we didn't think of that when we were recording last week, but episode 100 will premiere on Monday. That's a big one. We're trying to line up some guests. Hopefully it all works out. We're doing all this on a Friday. We're trying to reach out to everyone. Kyle and Porter working their tails off to bring some people onto the show. If not, regardless, it's going to be fun. We're going to try and get everyone back. The Hog Talk's been a very fun and interesting journey. But those guys are a hoot to work with. And looking forward to, hopefully I get the time. I know I've got a lot of plans this weekend, but hopefully we get the time and we're all able to come together and record that 100th episode. It's going to be awesome. So hopefully you guys will tune in and listen. All right, we'll see you guys around.